Hey everybody, tonight's game is a skirmish based on an encounter found in an Advanced Dungeons and Dragons adventure, and that would be N4 Treasure Hunt by Aaron Alston. What we got here is we have two forces, one comprised of goblins and one of orcs. And in the scenario, it says that there are 12 goblins. As you can see here, this is the maximum size of each force. There are 12 goblins and there are 6 orcs, which sounds unfair until you see the stats of these guys. So I'll tell you what each of these guys is equipped with. Each of the goblins there in the front is equipped with a spear, and the 4 in the back have bows. The 6 orcs are divided into 3 axes and 3 halberds. Not halberds, bardishes. The orc in the back is an orc leader. It looks like he has an axe, but he actually also has a bardiche. And in the scenario, it kind of expects the players to interfere somehow. And when I ran it, they didn't. But I would like to. I kind of want to see if I were to run D&D combat a little bit more properly than I did, because I didn't want to run the entire prolonged combat scenario when I had a whole party at the table. So I kind of did some shorthand on a lot of what happened. So I'm going to set up these two forces, and we're going to use D&D combat progression as best as I can stick to it. And we're going to see who wins between the orcs and the goblins. Okay, so I've set up kind of a simple configuration here. It doesn't tell you a lot about the valley they're engaging in, but I can tell you that this fight takes place on an island and during a storm. They're fighting in a valley, so towards you, the viewer, and past them are a couple of ridges, and you would be looking down on this fight from the same sort of angle that the adventurers might be when they encounter the orcs and goblins. So I've arranged these guys into some pretty simple lines here. And I can tell you that their intention right now, before initiative is rolled, the goblins intend to set their spears against a charge, and the archers are going to let loose a volley. And I will tell you that the 3 orcs with axes on the front line intend to charge, followed by the orc leader and the orcs with bardiches. So we're going to do some initiative here, and we're going to see who gets to do what. I forgot to go get my multicolored dice. I'll do that after I roll initiative here. So this is initiative for the goblins. They roll a 4, and initiative for the orcs. I forgot. You could see that. Okay. I thought you couldn't see it. Okay. We'll redo that because I think I accidentally. Okay. For the goblins. Oops. Well, they got a 2. Versus the orcs, who get a 5. So I think that means that the orcs are going first. I'm going to go and get my multicolored dice so I don't have to keep doing that. Okay, I've got my multicolored dice here. I was reading through combat procedures for first edition. It's been a while since I've run first edition for myself or anybody else. I should really do it again. It's really kind of fun to get through. It's crunchier than I like it, but it's kind of fun to run it that way. So I'm actually going to redo initiative so that I don't get mixed up, and because you actually determine actions after initiative is rolled, as per the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 61. Both parties are unsurprised, so they're both rolling initiative. So the way we've got this now is the blue is going to be the orcs, the red is the goblins. Oh, and the goblins win this time. Okay, so as per combat procedures, what do we got here? We've got. Okay, we're going straight to D, so it's going to be discharge missiles or magical device, attacks or cast spells, or turn undead. Okay, So we actually don't set weapons against charge until F. So the first thing that's going to happen is our archers are going to each loose a volley of 1 arrow. And let's see, the archer goblins have a THAC0 of 20. I think everybody here has a THAC0 of 20. And yeah, so that means they're going up against, they're each going to select the target. I think they're going to try and select those orcs at the front with the axes because they are pretty scary looking. So the orcs with the axes have an armor class of 10, which means these guys they have to roll a 10 or higher to hit the orcs with the axes with their bows. So let's determine these targets. I'm going to determine them randomly with a D3. So starting with the archer closest to us, this guy here, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's a 3. He's aiming for that guy. So we'll show how he does here. This is going to be arrow number 1. He has no bonus to hit. And if he does enough damage, he might kill this orc outright. So here we go. He needs to get above a 10. Whoops. He gets an 18. That's a hit. These do 1 to 6 damage. And this orc with the axe has 4 hit points. We'll probably keep track of these guys separately. So how is this gonna go? If he gets 4 or higher, that orc is dead. That's a dead orc. Man, nice shot there, buddy. That's 1 dead orc. Just right off the bat. Okay, so now we have our second archer here. We have a random target determination. Now it's just evens odd. That's a 1. That's odd. That's hitting the center orc axeman. And we're going to go on with our shot. That's a 2. That's a miss. He failed. Next up, this archer. Same, even odd. That's even. So it's going to be this lady with the axe. And he's taking his shot. That's an 8. That's a fail. Last goblin archer. Guy in the end. That's odd. That's going to be the center axeman. He gets an 11. That's a hit. And that's 1 damage. So he is not dead. He's like 1 health down. He's got an arrow sticking out of him. Not too deep of a wound. He'll live. Now, the rest of the goblins here, I think they're going to stick with the plan. They're actually going to set against charge. They know that some of their best hope is in their backline archers. So that's what they're going to do. They set their spears against a charge because the orcs probably want to charge. I'll give them kind of even odds on that. Orcs are not super smart, so they may actually charge onto set spears. And I want to play as true to the monster as possible. Goblins aren't terribly smart either, but they're going to try and play to whatever advantages they've got. So they set against charge. So now we're going to head over to the orcs side of the initiative. And I'm going to give them because they see what's going on, I'm going to give them like a 2 in 6 chance to charge anyway. They're under the command of this guy in the back, so he might just tell them that. That's a 1, so that will be a charge. That's 1 and 2. So here we go. They're going to, I need to read up a little bit on what that's going to do. All right, I apologize. Some of the language in first edition is very textbookish, and I have a very simple mind. So there's a lot of stuff about moving a 33 1/3% of your overland speed for bipeds, and I could make out only a little bit of what setting against charging means. So I'm going to do what I understand. So what I understand here is that these guys move 9 inches, as is stated in their stat block. So they're gonna move up to 9 inches, and I don't know what 33 1/3% of their overland speed is supposed to be. That sounds like mathematics ease, and Yeah, I don't speak that language. So that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have these two axemen charge the two goblins directly in front of them. Now, since they're set against a charge, that means they actually take priority in melee. So they actually get an attack first. And if they score it, they do double damage. That's what I kind of got out of that description. There was something about doing normal damage versus double damage. And for some reason, I couldn't decipher it. It's kind of late where I'm at, so that's how I'm going to do it. If they hit, they do double damage. If they miss, and the orcs will proceed to press their attack. So here we go. Thaco 10 or Thaco 20 versus AC 10. They need 10s. That's one hit and one miss. So we're going to have, let's see, evens, odds. Evens, that's the orc that takes it. So she is going to take 2d6 damage. I'm just going to double the die here. And she's killed outright. She impales herself on a spear and dies. This guy does not get impaled, and he is going to swing his big giant axe at the puny spear goblin right in front of him. And he's going to miss because he got a 6. Meanwhile, these guys are actually going to move into melee. They are not charging, which means they're going to move up to their speed here. And then they are not going to attack. We're actually going to put that guy here. So they have engaged with the goblins, and that is round 1, moving into round 2. All right, before we continue, I'd like to say that I got the set against charge wrong, as I knew I would. Checking back, it expressly says that you do not double the damage dice. You only double the damage dealt. So I'm pretty sure that would have killed her anyway. But we're just going to keep on going. And I'll keep that in mind for the future if this ever comes up again. So here we go. We're going to roll initiative once more. Once again, the orcs are blue, the goblins are red. The goblins win initiative this time. So now what's going to happen is I think we're looking at some goblin attacks. We appear to be in range. No, actually we are going to be, we're going to be discharging more projectiles. And I don't know if there's any, I don't know of any penalty for firing into melee, although I think there probably should be. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to shoot some arrows. Oh, wait, here's missile discharge. Let's see what it says. Let's see. This is the usual loosing of arrows and bolts, hurling of axes, hammers, javelins, darts, etc. It also includes the hurling of rocks by giants, manticore tail spike throwing, and so on. It can occur simultaneously with magic device attacks, spellcasting, and turning of undead. Magical device and spell attacks can negate the effects of or damage some missiles, like arrows fired off simultaneously with discharge of a fireball spell or a javelin hurled into an ice storm, or a dwarven hammer tossed at an opponent struck by a fireball or lightning bolt. As referee, I decide, it says you will have to determine the final results. And it gives you item saving throws here. Likewise, just discharge. Oh, here it is. Discharge of missiles into an existing melee is easily handled. It is permissible, of course, and the results might not be too incompatible with the desires of the discharging party. Assign a probabilities to each participant in the melee or target group according to sheer numbers. In the case of participate, so that means they're way more likely to hit a goblin than an orc. This is going to be funny. I think I know how this is going to work. So goblins, I think, are size S versus the orc size M. So that's going to weigh into deciding how these things are going to hit. Okay, so here we go. Goblins are going to unleash some arrows. I think these guys are, let's see. We want to shoot at this guy here. He is actually not engaged in melee, so that's fair game, and that's fair game. That's not fair game. So I think what's going to happen is they're actually going to shoot with the people that are not They're not currently engaged because they haven't, in my mind, they haven't made a melee attack yet. So they're not like in the middle of fighting. They're closer, but they're not in the middle of fighting. So that's what we're going to do. The Goblin Archer's the back. We're going to target this guy first, and just like before, we're going to go straight up the line. So that first Goblin Archer there is going to attack this guy with the Bardiche. He needs above a 10. That's a fail. The next guy here, let's see. We should be assigning these targets randomly. So I'll do that here. So you got 1 through 3 with the Bardiche users. That is a 2. That means we're going to be attacking her. She has a Bardiche. That's an 18. That's a hit. 4 or higher damage and she's dead. 4. That's a dead orc. Oh, this isn't looking good. I need to look into morale. But I think these orcs are in trouble. I knew the archers would come into play here. They would be really super important for the goblin victory. So now we got our third archer there. We're going to go evens odds right at the board here. So that's even. That's odd. That's odd. We're shooting at the commander. Here we go. That's astonishing performance from the goblins here. That's just wild. That's a 14. That's a hit. That's a single damage. So he's got an arrow sticking out of him just like that other axeman. And then we have one last archer who is also going to attack the commander. That's a hit. That's 2 more damage. So the commander is hanging on at a single hit point. I'm not sure when morale's supposed to happen, but it's not looking good for the orcs. I actually expected it to be the other way around. I thought the orcs would just charge in and mow these guys down, but that's not how it's working at all. Okay, so now we're going to move on to typical melee. Now in first edition, you can close to melee, but you can't attack, or you can charge and attack. So what we're looking at here is these guys are already engaged. So let's go ahead and resolve their melee first, and then we'll... No, we got to do it in order. So we're going to move first. So we're going to have this... I think this guy's actually going to charge. So we're going to charge here. I think we're going to charge here. That's already happening. Then I think we're looking at a charge and a charge. And that guy doesn't have like a straight line. So these guys are going to move, but not charge. And then the rest of the goblin archery stuff is going to be very funny. Well, maybe. It has the potential. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some melee here. We have these guys that charged in. Both of them are charging this Bardiche guy. Although I think a Bardiche is also a long weapon. I'm actually going to give them equal initiative. So, and he didn't brace against charge anyhow. So we're looking at 2 goblins versus this orc here. They go 10. They go 20. Okay, we got 1 hit. And that spear is also a d6, I believe. I'm just going to take a look, just in case. I'm getting everything else wrong. I may as well get the damage right? Goblins with spears. Yeah, that's going to be d6 versus small, d8 versus large. Here we go. Huh. Oh man. I think the orcs are having a bad time here, guy. It's not looking good for them. Okay, this guy with the axe and this guy with the spear are both going to fight each other. So first off, the goblin who initiated combat is going to attack with his spear. That's a hit. That is almost a kill. He has 1 hit point left from being shot with that arrow. And the orc is going to retaliate. He's going to hit. And what does the axe do here? That's a d8 battle axe. That's scary. So here we go. D8 battle axe. And how many hit points does a spear goblin have? They have 2 hit points. He just killed the goblin. Oh my gosh. That's the first goblin casualty. Good job, Orc Man. 1 goblin dead of 4 orcs. Man. Man alive. Okay, well, we're looking at another two charges here. Remember that leader. If that leader goes down, it's over. Short video. The leader goes down. I'll do a little bit of talking about it afterwards, sort of. What is this like? It's like a sports channel. And the goblin charges in with a spear aimed directly at the orc's heart. He had one hit point left. I don't know why I bothered rolling. The leader's dead. Oh, okay. Well. Huh. I guess that's just how it went. I suppose that's what happens when you charge a braced spear line, and you don't bring any archers. So yeah, again. So what this was an adventure. It's part of an adventure. It's treasure hunt. There's a part where you get up on the hill and you can see some orcs and goblins fighting. The story behind it is that they used to work together. I think they're like pirates or raiders or something. And they're on this island and they started fighting over the treasure that's like in this manor house way up on a hill someplace. And they start fighting and stabbing each other. Yeah, this went different than I thought. Kind of a short video, I guess. I did more blathering on about rules and trying to understand them. But yeah, I hope that was kind of entertaining. First edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons has always been kind of one of those games that I've put an inordinate amount of energy into trying to understand. A lot of the rule books read like textbooks. A lot of the rules are kind of buried and disorganized, but I can't help but love them. Combat is something that I've actually found particularly difficult to figure out. I'm probably just getting in my own head too much about it, when really it's easy to just say, oh, everybody gets one action per turn. Here's the actions. You roll d6 for initiative, and there you go. But I find myself getting lost in the minutia of just these weird fiddly little numbers that Mr. Gygax and his development team put into first edition. And it I don't know, it makes me want to try to do it as correctly as possible, even though mathematics and a lot of the way they insist on doing things in a specific order doesn't really make much sense to me. But it's still fun to try, you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like I'm a monkey staring at a monolith. It's just such an interesting game that has a lot of complexity and moving parts to it. But I feel like once I master it, I can make it something really good, and I can run it well enough. It's been a dream of mine for a long time to get a group together and run a full first edition campaign, mechanically accurate, with all the right kinds of flavor and trappings, whatever that means, you know. What you see before you is actually part of a project where I'm trying to take the most likely encounters, such as orcs and goblins. I'm doing the same thing with kobolds and wolves and zombies and things like that. All the stuff that you encounter the most in RPGs, and just paint a ton of them. One of the things I wanted to do is no repeating figures. I want them all to be distinct. And that's made it a little bit harder, but it's been a lot of fun to do. Well, maybe someday I can get a better hold on the rules, and I can do something that makes sense. Or actually, I got a question for you guys. How many of you played first edition AD&D growing up? I know that the solo community has quite a few of you, and if you want a channel that does a longer solo campaign, take a look at the Joy of Wargaming. He has a big playlist called I think he calls it the Wolflands. After this, it does make me want to really dig into that series. It may surprise you to know that as a solo creator, I don't actually watch a whole lot of solo content. As to why that is, I don't really know. My theory is that I watched it to figure out how to do it, and now that I know how to do it, I do it. But it makes me want to dig into that especially because from what I understand, he does it pretty mechanically accurate. And if that's the case, then I definitely want to use it as a study tool because first edition is one of those things I want to master. So thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry if the video was kind of short and kind of disappointing. The orcs just kind of ran in and died, didn't they? It's not exactly what I was expecting. But hey, congratulations to the disgusting little goblin filth. And maybe we'll have a rematch one of these days. And maybe someday in the future, I can do a Wolflands campaign of my own. Crunchy rules and all. We'll see you next time.